Hello all, it's the 29th of May 2017 and you're here with Dan in Essex, UK in the polytunnel. Had an incredible thunderstorm last night. Blimey, certainly loud. I don't remember one as loud as that. Good amount of rain with it as well, which has helped to fill up the water butts here, which I'm very grateful for. It's watered the allotment, it's watered the plants outside, including the fruit trees, the brassicas, etc. Very happy about that. And of course the water in the water butt I will use to help water in here later on, so that's a great thing. So a few people have contacted me with regards to their own gardening efforts and how to start. Now some people like watching my channel for whatever reason. Some people like it because they like to see what I'm growing, just even if it's something like runner beans, whether it's some peaches on a peach tree, whether it's some strawberries in some tubs, some relatively not totally experimental stuff because I've had success with it in the past, but whether it's bitter melons or watermelons or cherries here, or courgette marrows, whatever you want to call it. People like to see what I'm doing, and of course they like to see what other channels are doing as well. So that's a very good thing with regards to the community and what people can learn from it. But some people are not sure how to start themselves for whatever reason, whether they've got with regards to certain issues, whether haven't got the money to do it, they haven't got the time to do it, they haven't got the space to do it, they haven't got the knowledge to do it. And my advice to people who are thinking about gardening is to find a way of doing it and just start. So let's say, for example, you live in a flat, an apartment, whatever you want to call it, and you literally have no garden. So there are ways that you can start things. So for example, you can grow salad leaves in tubs on your windowsill. You could even try and grow some beetroot or some carrots in some tubs on your windowsill. Some cherry plants, things like that. You could look into having a properly secured window box. You need to just look around and think, what can I do to get started? If possible, you can put in for an allotment. I mean, my allotment, I think it's 90 square metres and it costs, I think it's something like £38 per year, so it's a very minimal fee. But of course, in some parts of the country or the world or whatever, with regards to allotments, the waiting list is so high people can't get them, or there simply isn't one available in the area. In which case, if you want to get more space, you could look at asking someone you know who's got a big garden or a lot, whatever you want to call it, and they need a little bit of help maintaining it. Now you could either say you want to rent a little bit of land off of them, you could say that you will maintain their land or at least part of their land for them in return for use of a bit of their land for growing some of your own produce or some of your own flowers or whatever it is that gets you going with regards to this subject. If you've got a small garden, very small garden, like a courtyard garden, I mean some places only have a garden which is as big as this 4 metres by 2 or 3 metre polytunnel. And of course you could look into some container growing, you can look into some companion planting. There are so many things that you can do now with regards to growing your own food that years ago wasn't quite as easy. For example, you've seen this before. Let me show you this here for people new to my channel. Now, this is a cherry minaret. Now, it's variety Stella, which I believe is a Canadian variety. It's self-fertile, so you don't need to worry about the bees getting in here and pollinating it because it's not necessary because they pollinate themselves from their own pollen. But look at this. Now, this is not a particularly brilliant specimen. There's a story behind this tree, which I won't go into now. But you can see there are cherries on it. Excuse me. Because of course when people think of a cherry tree they think you've got to have an enormous tree which you just wouldn't have or may not have space for in your backyard, but it's not true. You can have dwarfing rootstocks. You can see down, if I could just turn it, that down there is a specific rootstock to make a vertical cordon tree. The peach tree here is on a dwarfing rootstock as well, so there we go, it's all down there doing its thing, and you can see I'm having peaches produced in a relatively small polytunnel. So a lot of it really is about doing your research and being resourceful. I'm trying to get this mobile phone back on there is. So yeah, there's so many things that you need to look at. So of course if money is an issue, which it is for many people these days, and indeed previous days as well, you might want to look at getting yourself some pots to grow some things in. So you've seen my pots before. In fact, we could even show them there. Now these are 35 litre pots. Now I think these came from eBay or somewhere like that. Now I did pay for these, but you can see these little buckets I've got here. Look, I'll just turn them. Where some of these, like here, look, where these strawberries are, and where this watermelon plant is, and there's a smaller one in the corner, and where these strawberries are. Now I was given these, and if you look around and talk to people, you can quite often find people that want to get rid of things. You know, to them, they're just nothing but a nuisance. They've either bought a new house or rented a new house or whatever, and there's these things available that they don't want, and then they might consider giving them to you. With regards to sourcing your own soil, you might be able to find someone who's having an extension that's perfectly quite happy, or garage built or something like that, who's quite happy to give you some topsoil that you could use for your own growing methods. You might be able to find someone who's got a little bit of compost. You might even be able to help someone cut their grass and use their... You might even get paid to help someone cut their grass, who knows? And you might be able to take their grass cuttings away and help to create your own compost. Now, the thing with this sort of, with regards to gardening, is a lot of it is basically an effort that you have to put in yourself, and you have to expect it to take time. Now, of course we live in a time when many people want everything yesterday. They want it fast, they want it quick, they want it perfect right away. And in my experience, gardening doesn't work like that. Some people like to design their garden on a piece of graph paper. They either like to get people and then get someone in to completely craft it for them, which costs thousands or whatever. Or some people like to do it the way I like to do it, which is naturally let it develop, which to me, that works out a lot better, because I can think about what I want, I can shop around for deals, I can see what comes my way for free, and things can come your way for free if you're prepared to just wait and take the time. As I always speak of in my allotment and my gardening videos, I speak about taking time with regards to making your own soil, building your own quality soil. So, you know, other than just digging it over, taking the top layer of turf off, digging everything over and chucking stuff in, I think it's nice to take that little bit of extra time to just build your soil and get good quality produce, and help things slowly materialize. And you guys have seen my excuse me, the results of the no dig method. You've seen the results of taking time, enriching the soil with manure, fish blood and bone, grass cuttings, vegetation, etc. You've seen the results of this, okay? And that's all about taking one's time, not just ripping the top layer off, digging it over and sticking plants in. There can be a lot more to it than that if you let it. So just having a look round, if you need a little bit more sort of inspiration. So take these runner beans. Now I could get a great big tub. That wouldn't even need a big tub. In fact, I may even stick some in a small tub and see if I can produce some in a very small tub, just to show you guys what can be done in a small space. So take a look at them. Take a look at these dwarf beans. Grapevine cuttings. You see, this is another thing that you've got to learn how to do, and one appears so far to have taken. Look at that. So this is another thing you can look at. You can learn how to take grapevine cuttings, which basically is in the dormant season. You cut off a bit of last year's growth with 4 buds. You stick 2 buds in the ground or in the pot or whatever, and you leave 2 buds above, keep it moist, and then it roots, or can root. That's basically it. You can learn, maybe you could even grow your own grapevine if you can find someone with some cuttings, so that you learn, so that you don't have to pay for it. What have we got here? Look, we've got some courgettes, we've got some cucumbers, all coming away. Okay, all growing away. Got some butternut squash down here. So I think you guys get the message of what I'm saying. Just start if you want to. Get some tubs, get some compost, get some soil, get some seeds, get some seedlings. You've seen many of you guys have seen my videos. I've given you a few ideas on what you can do if you don't have the space. So we'll go over that again. If you live in a flat or something like that, apartment, you can grow stuff on your windowsill. You could maybe look at putting in for an allotment. You can look at helping someone with some land. You could rent a little bit of land off them, or you could do a little bit of work for them for free or whatever, if in return for the use of their land. Now, I fully understand as well, there are people that would love to do some gardening, but for whatever reason they're physically unwell, they can't do it, and that's incredibly sad. But this may help you a little bit. I spoke about this lady before, she's passed away now, but she had a lot of health issues. She'd had several strokes. She had lost a limb. Very unwell indeed. But she used to really get a lot of pleasure from growing tomatoes. And what she used to do is, where she lived in a home, she had some raised beds there, and she used to grow some tomatoes in there, in these raised beds, so that she didn't have to bend down and that sort of thing. It made accessibility easier for her. And maybe, you know, if you're watching this and you're in a position where you find things like that difficult, that might help to inspire you. She used like these ties to tie them up, and she used to grow a few tomatoes and a few other bits and bobs, and it used to give her a bit of pleasure. So I wish everybody out there good luck. Enjoy your bank holiday Monday, and I hope that this talk has helped. Speak soon.